What's up, guys? Thank you so much for being here. We're tracking some major air quality issues in the Northeast and Southeast Canada because of those ongoing wildfires. We're going to break that down and talk about when that clears up. Then we're going to head down for us in the Caribbean. There's a huge flood threat unfolding over the next few days, especially on the western side of the Caribbean. And then also in the tropics, there's that little something towards the Azores. We're going to break that down for our friends in the North Atlantic. And then one last thing, we'll head back to the Northeast going to remain really, really cold. So a lot of stuff going on. But I want to start with the air quality. And I'm kind of showing you this zoomed out view here. This is from Air Now, the government website. And it has a really good tool here. You can have in the fire section. What this gray is here is the actual fire smoke from the wildfires burning through parts of Quebec and into northern Canada, closer to the Hudson Bay, and then also in southeast Canada. And then Nova Scotia, we've had that fire burning as well, of course. But today we're focused on the air quality that is going to be significantly compromised because of that continued smoke. And it is really thick here. I want to first zoom in into the Northeast. And basically, we're looking at where we have these oranges, reds, purples, and then dark purples is really, really dangerous. So if you can't make out the state lines here, we're focused in on New York City towards Philadelphia. That's where we have, again, the orange and red popping up. So we have some big time issues with air quality. This is going to be, again, on Tuesday, June 6th. Also having more air quality issues through central Pennsylvania towards the Pittsburgh area. Upstate New York towards the Adirondack Mountains. We have air quality issues that's spilling into Vermont. We're keeping a close eye on that. I want to take you further back up into Canada for my friends in and around Ottawa, Montreal. We had that deep, dark purple. We have fires actually burning nearby. Again, all these little orange specks that are on your screen here are actual wildfires that are burning. And that is why we have those really nasty smoke issues, again, air quality issues into Montreal, into Ottawa. Further down the road into Toronto, we certainly have some air quality issues, but they're not as bad. Certainly, you can see the haze in the sky in Toronto, into Buffalo, into Erie, into Cleveland, even into parts of eastern Michigan, towards Lansing, towards Detroit, all because of those Canadian wildfires. I want to show you a pretty cool tool here. This is called the vertically integrated smoke model, and it basically puts what it thinks due to the atmospheric motions where the highest concentration of smoke is going to be. I mean, right now it's doing a very, very good job. Let me bring out my telestrator again. You see where the purple is again from Ottawa into upstate New York and then into Vermont. That's where we had some of the really big air quality issues. And then that dark red towards New York City into eastern and central Pennsylvania. That was round number 2 again. That is later on Tuesday. What I want to do now is take this further out in time to just kind of see that spread. So again, heads up in Boston. This is going to be later on this afternoon. Our air quality was okay at this time as of this recording on early Tuesday morning, but you see that purple according to that model covering up a lot of Massachusetts. So again, when you get these purples like this and when you get those air quality alerts that you see, make sure you're just being mindful and not staying outside too long. Again, this is that particulate matter from the fires, which is really nasty to kind of breathe that in. So again, just be careful out there in the Northeast. I want to kind of take this further out in time here and show you that we are going to see some improvements. Notice this is as we get into early Wednesday morning. This is going to be on the 7th. We still have some smoke in our skies all the way down into Georgia, South Carolina. It's not as thick. Again, that dark purple color represents where we had that super, super thick stuff. But watch what happens. We have another kind of push as we get into early Thursday morning. This is going to be on June 8th, especially here right through the 95 corridor south of Boston to Rhode Island, into Connecticut, back to New York City, back to northern Jersey. And then that dark red color extending all the way towards DC, toward Richmond, Virginia, and then through parts of the Northeast. So we are going to be keeping this around for quite some time. There'll be some improvements on Wednesday and then kind of a reinforcing shot of that on Thursday. The reason for this is, as I have to change my view here, look at this. We all know it. It's been kind of an ugly start, the unofficial start to summer. Anyway, I know summer is still officially a few weeks away, but look at this big little bubble of blue here. These are the forecast temperature anomalies. This is getting into Thursday morning. I'm going to kind of back this up to kind of show you the progression here. Note where it comes in from. We have a system kind of retrograding back into the northeast. And as that kind of colder air spills back out of southeast Canada and the North Atlantic, it's going to reforce down some of the cloud or some of the fire smoke from the fires that have been burning up into Canada. So not only are we going to have a kind of 1-2 punch here of another round of kind of crummy weather to close out the work week, at least cold weather, we're going to have a reinforcing shot of that wildfire smoke in our skies. For some perspective, if you're wondering, okay, well, how cold is that? Those anomalies at 850 millibars, that's about 2,500 feet, give or take, above your head. So that's the anomaly. It's good to look at that. So it takes out kind of the equation of rain being the reason for that. Anyway, this is Thursday afternoon. Again, just crazy stuff. Buffalo, we're struggling to get out of the 50s. Same thing for Boston. New York City, we're going to be right around 60. It's okay. Look at this, 40s, 50s, widespread across lots of New England and into upstate New York, into Maine. We're in the 60s towards Pittsburgh, a little bit warmer down towards D.C. for us and along the Jersey coast. But by and large, it is going to be chilly. I'm going to take this out to Friday afternoon for you. We warm up a little bit. We're back to the 60s in Boston. See that right there. We're doing okay in Michigan, 70s in Detroit, but still that pocket of really chilly air. Those are highs in the 40s and 50s through a lot of Vermont, a lot of upstate New York, a lot of Maine. Doing okay in the Carolinas. We're talking 80s. The Carolinas are just off my screen there. But it is going to be pretty chilly again, and it's the same system that's cooling us down in the Northeast that is going to resupply us with some of that wildfire smoke. All right. Hey, if you're finding this information helpful, give this a thumbs up. Also, if you like talking weather, please hit subscribe. That'd be awesome to have this conversation with you guys all the time. All right, so we're going to jump down into the Caribbean. This is where we're going to be watching for a potential major flood threat in the Eastern Caribbean. We actually have some of that Saharan dust coming into the Eastern Caribbean. So really, Puerto Rico through Trinidad and Tobago and then into the Leeward and Windward Islands, we're going to be mainly dry out of this with just a few scattered showers and thunderstorms. That dust is pretty much right about here, closing in onto the eastern parts of the Dominican Republic. That's going to help to keep us on the drier side. We are going to watch this flare up, and it is very unorganized. In terms of any kind of tropical development before it gets to Jamaica or Cuba or the Bahamas or Turks and Caicos, it is very unlikely. We can see that here. Notice how we have this big blob of junk right there coming off of the Yucatan Peninsula into in Central America. All of the clouds are then being blown right off into Cuba through the Turks and Caicos and into the Bahamas. What this means is that we have a ton of wind shear just blowing right on through the southern Gulf of Mexico and the Western Caribbean. So again, good news for any kind of potential development. I will give it a small shot once it gets right in here for the Hurricane Center to highlight something and then maybe develop. That's going to be, again, beyond any kind of impacts from the Western Caribbean island. So just wanted to point that out. Nonetheless, it is going to be pretty wet over the next couple of days. I want to show you the forecast here through Saturday afternoon. So this is going to go all the way out until June 10th. Note all these. I'll kind of take my little crosshair thing over to highlight how much rain will fall. But notice, I'll draw these out again because the lines kind of get hidden because we have so much rain. Here is Cuba. Here is Jamaica. Here is the Dominican Republic and Haiti. And then here is Puerto Rico. There is the Yucatan. And then down through Central America. So that's where we stand. So you see that big bright yellow there. I'll go over that. And we're talking about 130 millimeters of rain in right smack dab through central Cuba. That's going to be 4, 5, 6 inches of rain, converting it to inches. A little bit less than that for us in Jamaica. I think we miss out on the highest rainfall amounts. I think they'd stay just to our west. We're still talking about 30 to 40 millimeters, maybe even 50 millimeters at times, kind of popping up. For us in Haiti, anywhere from 20 to 30 millimeters. And then a little bit less, again, the further to the east you go into the Dominican Republic. Again, this is through 7 days. So this is from Tuesday, June 6th, through June 10th. So we're talking about a 4 to 5 day forecast here. Rainfall, not much in Puerto Rico. Then that heavy rain, of course, we already saw it there. Is that disturbance kind of left the Yucatan Peninsula as well. One last thing before I leave you. Let me get back to a better view for you. There is one thing that the Hurricane Center has its eyes set on. It's this right here. Big disturbance. Already bringing some nasty weather to Portugal, to Spain. The waves are rocking up here, so heads up towards the UK, Azores as well. This is kind of right smack dab where we're watching it. There's going to be the potential. It's a low chance now, but I would not be surprised if we do get a subtropical storm, and those things do get names. So I would not be surprised if we do have sneaky Brett. Brett is the next name up on the 2023 hurricane season list for the Atlantic. Right now, anyway, we do have a circulation here. And it looks like we do try to have some thunderstorms near the center. So to me, anyway, from where it was yesterday, this is looking more likely like we are going to trend in that direction over the next couple of days, that we may be able to pop a subtropical storm. Elsewhere in the tropics, we're looking okay. We do have that little disturbance. Here's Trinidad and Tobago. That's going to try to move in, give us a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, but nothing to write home about. We're certainly not expecting a ton of flooding with that. And then another big tropical wave moving off of Africa. It's kind of embedded in the ITCZ from the trade winds coming together here. And if you were with me last hurricane season, and again, if you want to stay updated on all things tropical weather, all things hurricane season, you have to hit subscribe. Please do that for me. It would be awesome. It has to kind of remove itself from this kind of elongated band of convection here before it even has a shot to develop. Again, we're not talking about that. You can kind of see this. This is actually a really good illustration of where the dust is. Notice how we have clouds right here. We have clouds right here. We have clouds right up in here. Let me change my telestrator color here. This is where kind of that Saharan dust is. So really neat. Kind of, it's keeping all of the clouds away. So there's a lot of sunshine to the Cabo Verde Islands as that dust from Sahara Desert gets picked up into the trade winds and then rolls right on over into the Caribbean. This time around, as I continue to ramble on and on and on, and if you're still with me, hit that thumbs up button. Another weather system going to kind of lift this up and out. So I don't think this time around we're going to have dust make it to the United States shoreline. At least that's the lower 48. I think we'll have a little bit of that getting into Puerto Rico. But in terms of the lower 48, I think this time that dust kind of heads out. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was a long one today. There's a lot to kind of look at here. If you are, again, watching in the Northeast, please be careful. That air quality is really going to be compromised today because of the Canadian wildfires. And again, if you're watching from maybe Cuba or Belize or the Yucatan Peninsula, Jamaica, be careful because that flood threat is going to be here through the rest of this upcoming week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please hit subscribe, and we will catch you next time.